am in no way acquainted with Smash Brothers whatsoever. It's a genre in games I have zero interest in. But of course, to give my thoughts on this just simply requires me to be informed. So from what I've gathered, that's the direction I'm going to take this video. But yeah, it really helps to understand where I'm coming from with all of the things I have to say. Now, some of you have made me aware of this entire ordeal, but I first got wind of this a couple of days ago when it started trending on Twitter. Now, I'll do my best to give the too long don't read version of everything that's going on for those of you who don't know. Basically, Big House here has got their hearts broken. What they wanted to do was host an inspired event revolving around Super Smash Bros. Melee when Nintendo said, wait, that's illegal. What is interesting is that there is still a strong ass community in a game that's nearly 20 fucking years old. Name me a franchise that has a community still supporting it, let alone a single game nearly 20 years later. But here's the problem. Nintendo wants to protect their IP. They see nothing but a threat here, so what they want to do is avoid any and all press revolving around third-party software. That's where Slippi comes in. Now, what is Slippi? Slippi is a mod for the Dolphin browser that provides a stable internet connection when playing Super Smash Bros. Melee. They can offer a better internet experience than Nintendo Switch Online. You know, the online service that Nintendo charges people for monthly, quarterly, and annually? Basically, being able to play a game from nearly 20 years ago with online connectivity that it never had is a feat in and of itself. This is a rundown of Slippi and why Nintendo doesn't want to be involved with any third-party shenanigans. I will be providing this link in the video's description on how all of this works, and that's basically the gist of this whole thing. It seems like Nintendo just wants to protect their IP. The instant they hear about anything involving third-party software, mods, anything that isn't affiliated with them, they are well within their rights to protect themselves from it. But is it really that simple? And to understand this, we need to understand the copyright laws. And not just any copyright laws, the convoluted and inconsistent copyright laws. Now, for the people out there defending Nintendo saying that, well, this is exactly why they're doing this, I'm going to prove to you why your argument is incredibly weak while making you feel bad for the arbitrary need to blindly get your back blown out by Nintendo. Let's start by understanding that laws are not final and infinite. They're every bit as flawed as the human beings that make them. A lot of people are pushing for copyright laws to be updated, if not changed at the very least. So when you go, but the law, you see how dumbfounded that sounds? That's how uninformed you are. Now, the gist of this law involving backup and archival copies of legal software is that commercial use, backing them up, archiving them, and even selling them is completely allowed as long as that original and legal copy exists alongside the backup and archival copies. Yet another link I will provide in this video's description. And here's the other part of this. The Copyright Act does not permit anyone to sell backup copies to third parties separately from the original copy of the software. So basically, what they're saying here is that you're allowed to, once again, backup, archive, use personally, use commercially, and even sell these ROMs, these ISO files, whatever, as long as you have the original and legal copy present in some manner. And anytime you don't have that copy present, you need to destroy any and all carbon copies of it. But if anyone knows how not only convoluted and inconsistent the copyright laws are on YouTube, especially when it comes to copyright takedowns, trust me, I know. You'll know that you're still doing nothing but making a gamble here. You're flipping coins, you're rolling dice, hoping to get those favorable outcomes, because just because these laws exist and attempt to spell things out for you doesn't mean that there's any guarantee behind this. So don't take this as any kind of guarantee and final. No, this doesn't prove that rhymes are illegal. No, it proves that there are laws that really need to be updated to be spelled out better, as well as offer some kind of guarantees for the parties involved. So there's your but it's the law argument. Now, so far you should understand what Slippi is, how it works, what's involved with it like netcode, let alone its intended purposes. So far, for me personally, I don't see any kind of malintent here. If you know the history of this community and how they love Smash Brothers so much through Melee alone, a nearly 20-year-old game, you can start putting the pieces together. It is easy from the outside looking in to see this as a cut and dry thing, but it's far from that. They don't want want Nintendo to roll over and just back off of trying to protect their IP, no one is really making that argument. What these chaps want to do is host a benevolent event in the name of Smash Bros. Melee, among the other Smash Bros. Games. And you will find that there's a lot more attached to this than them just trying to get around Nintendo, feeling immediately threatened to protect their IP. And that's where we get into the heart of this entire debacle. Let's start with Nintendo's oh so predictable please understand PR statement. Nintendo appreciates the love and dedication the fighting game community has for the Super Smash Bros. Series. Now it's worth noting that they have made their contributions as well by partnering with numerous Super Smash Bros. Tournaments in the past and hosted their online and offline tournaments. Here's where Big House comes in. According to Nintendo, they want to host a Melee tournament that requires the use of illegally copied versions of the game in conjunction with a mod called Slippi. So Nintendo felt no choice after they requested that they stop, which they didn't, to go in and protect their IP. Another note to add to the whole argument of but it's the law. Regardless of all this bullshit, if you truly think that this is going to make a dent or even tickle the inevitability of piracy, well, I guess the earth feels flat to you. Nintendo just seems incredibly misinformed with what they're making an objection to here. And they only seem to go against the grain just to protect their IP. But really, what's being threatened? You shut down shit like Emu Paradise many years ago, among other things, but there's still ways, albeit not as public as before, that people are still pirating. I'm just putting that out there. Oh, and by the way, I came across this very informed video of Nintendo's history of trying to kill Smash. Sounds a bit extreme, doesn't it? It sounds like this person is trying to push a narrative, right? They've given some very convincing examples that seem to prove otherwise. Now, I'm sure the Smash community knows MLG, and I will provide a link to this video in this video's description as well. I can imagine for the same reasons that Nintendo denied MLG to stream Brawl back in 2010. They gotta protect that IP, man. Then there's, of course, Evo from 2013 that they tried to shut down, but they managed to back away from doing. Now, Nintendo posted their own events around their own IP, so yeah, this is not about painting them as the bad guy. No one needs to paint them as the bad guy. You can look at the history here. But let's take all of this that they shut down and tried to shut down and see that there's a recurring pattern here in the form of this. So is it really that important for them to protect their IP when these people want support more than anything concerning online play for a nearly 20-year-old game, especially in a pandemic and for subsequent tournaments? Look at the charities that the Smash community has contributed to over these years. It's not just about Nintendo protecting their IP, because it's not just about their IP. It's about a benevolent community that just wants support for your IP, Nintendo, that you think that they're trying to rebrand and profit off of, especially when it comes to a solid online connection better than the one you're offering and profiting off of. Now, I'm not that person to sit up here and say, you donated to charity, you're spared from going to hell. But I'm looking at all this shit here that I've compiled, and if it's not just about Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Melee, and Ultimate, and you can raise these amounts of money for charity, that spells nothing but dedication to me. To the game, to your IP, Nintendo, and from a community of people, especially in times like this, when we could otherwise be at each other's throat instead. I see nothing but shit that should be praised here personally. It really makes you think twice about blindly supporting these multi-billion-dollar entities, doesn't it? As long as you buy their products, make them rich and richer, and keep them swimming in money, it's all good. But any and every time you just want to, give the charity, host events, and have no malicious intent with their IP, again, wait, that's illegal. And I've even seen comments that said the online is better with Slippi and its netcode than with Nintendo's paid online service in Smash Ultimate. Your best counterplay is but the law. Even from the outside looking in, I can see so much that's just fucking silly with all of this. It does really feel like Nintendo just has no interest outside of their own tournaments that they've hosted involving Super Smash Bros. To support the community in any way. They would rather go against the grain to protect their IP and uphold the law rather than work with any of you, because remember, ladies and gents, this is just another example of business before consumers. Never forget, no matter how much you get down on all fours for these multi-billion-dollar corporations, it's still all about the bottom line, and guess what that is? So I'm not surprised to see any of this unfold the way it has. It's an uphill battle, and quite frankly, don't expect Nintendo to go away quietly. And now for these types of people, because that's who just left the bathrooms of Nintendo's corporate offices all soiled and wet. it. Let me show you how simple it is to understand what's really going on here. After making this video in less than 5 minutes, he disables the ratings once again, like he classically does in his typical, well, whatever that is he makes, and there were only 3 comments at the time. This is funny. If you feel something is unjust, you fight it. But wait, you were so insecure to edit this comment by saying this video is supportive of Melee, but somehow people are mad you're saying this. That's what you were aiming for, right, Verlisify? Weren't you butthurt to even make these 2 shit posts? Piggybacking off of the entire debacle for those clicks you desperately need? These videos are supportive of Melee, but yet you and your simps are the smooth-brained betas vilifying and demeaning the Smash community instead. So what do you mean by supportive? Because you were the very flat earthers making the "it's the law" cop-out, and when you heart brain-dead comments, that circle jerk and echo chamber where you vilify and demean these people, you further prove that you lack the intellect to learn the definition of what supportive actually means. Fight it? What the fuck are you talking about, kid? That's exactly what they're doing. You and your simps were too busy losing brain mass, demonizing the Smash community for doing just that. So in one shit post, you demean them for fighting the good fight, and then you support them. It's a shame those clicks didn't pay off after all. Remember, these people are idiots. They were disgusting. They are unwell, Verlisify. The derangement. Real rich when you turn around and tell them to fight the good fight regardless. I'm gonna tell somebody to off themselves and then tell them I got their back. And where exactly is your supporting evidence? Nintendo has the right to do it. The law protects Nintendo. They have a right to protect their IP. Supportive and cocksucker. Pick one. That, by the way, is rhetorical. But no supporting evidence. ROMs are illegal because this article fits his narrative when the actual laws spell it out a bit more, and even then there's no guarantee with how the real world works concerning copyright laws in general. Remember, those are the most convoluted, inconsistent, and all-around flawed things at the heart of all of this. They just want support. It's not an issue of legality, it's morality. Settle it in court because you're arguing to make illegal ROMs legal and you want to take the fight to a multi-billion-dollar corporation where you'll surely have the upper hand with. Something tells me that Verlisify never did recover from blacking out from the last internet poo-poo he shitted himself over. Damn, sweetheart, are you alright? Here's a reminder of Verlisify's sheer lack of intelligence and mental stability. Now, he has deleted a lot of videos where he exposed his own bullshit in reality. A year ago, he made a smear campaign titled "Beware the Smash Ultimate Community." There was a little drama going on back then, and heaven forbid that humans be humans, right? So what he did was radicalize that little predicament out of a grudge against the Smash community. Why? In a Twitlonger he made on December 17th, 2018, he makes excuses for why he is canceling a money match when he challenged the Shofu to that very money match for $1,000. Now keep in mind the Jacksonville shooting he's whining about happened in August of that year. The match was supposed to take place in December. So what does Verlisify do? He uses that as a crutch. Decided a couple of months after that incident that maybe then it wasn't a good idea for him to show his face in public. Or was it because he wrote a check that his ass couldn't cash? And of course this wouldn't be stock Verlisify if he didn't blame everyone else but himself. And this is all he did. So that adds up, doesn't it? Randomly leech off some drama that happened in the Smash community that had nothing to do with you. Drama for clicks has always been his fucking agenda. And here's Shofu himself explaining the whole thing. And again, Verlisify challenged him. And of course, everyone from the Smash community and anyone who's familiar with this clown for that matter gave his pathetic ass a taste of his own fucking medicine as a result. Especially when it's your mantra to start shit with everybody and play the victim. And that's the entirety of Verlisify's history with the Smash community that he tries to smear as well. Yet another delusional and self-unaware chapter that is a part of his drama for clicks agenda 7 years in the making. That's my thoughts on the whole thing. Verlisify and his cocksuckers have no worth in the conversation. They're just simply weighing in because they are the equivalent of those kids on the playground making fun of the ones with bigger brain mass than they ever will have. And they gotta feel relevant somehow. And that reminds me of another argument, because these are the same clueless assholes that say that you all should be grateful to Nintendo. Don't poke the bear. But it's shit like this that explains who the true heroes are. Nintendo makes a product to sell to their consumers. This is just a reminder of who put them there. Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Apple, you name it. All of those motherfuckers wouldn't be anything without us, our benevolence. So would it kill corporations like Nintendo to be a little less anti-consumer and a bit more inviting when it comes to their consumers, which are the same people that are responsible for their success? This is just another situation that sounds off with an astounding and hard yes. I see charities here, a dedicated community, and support for Nintendo's IP that goes beyond their capabilities, which when you think about it is saying a lot for a corporation that is hell-bent in so many aspects of itself to go against the 21st century grain. These bootlickers do nothing but enable Nintendo. Think about it. You won't get the misconception that Nintendo was ever your friend and that it was ever about anything other than the money. Smash community, good luck. Keep fighting the good fight, I guess. It's nothing but business as usual, regardless of how charitable and devoted you may be.